Allah, before we go into this lesson, we give all honor, all glory, and all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakakodash. We give double honor to the apostles and prophets and elders of James Camp, but as great minister for the bring forth the 100% truth that have been correctly edified under. Shalom to the elect, the tabernacle of David, and I and Roberta Zaria coming to you this lesson. Now, before we go into the understanding, let's get this part of it so you could now understand what we're going into, right? So,
Jesus was not a black man, he was an ethnic Jew. Some people are still upset.
There's nothing to be upset about. He's talking what he chooses to talk, but he is wrong in this understanding. But let's continue.
Because Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell.
No, just let's.
Christianity came out of Africa. We know from history. Because Christianity came out of Africa. I know some of you got him hanging on your wall, a black man with locks, but Jesus was not a black man. We know from history, and we know from the word of God that Jesus was.
So, if you notice what he's doing here, many people have already had an uproar against the Hebrew Israelites movement, according to the ways, according to this truth, according to this earth, because they know that's the awakening of the coming of the end. Once the elect is sealed, the destruction is going to come. We know that. So many people dislike the doctrine and the way we do things according to the scriptures, right? So he's leaning on these people's emotions to carry out a message so that he himself could feel as though he's valid and what he's saying is correct. But you haven't dug deep enough, sir. I can't even call that pastor. Philip Anthony Mitchell, you need to dig deeper. We know you're not going to do it tonight because we know you're a false prophet regardless of the situation. We know you're only here to appease the minds of the people that you stand by at the point in time. That's your work with Esau because all you're under 501c3, which means all you're taking bribe. And what the Bible say? Bribe perverts the gospel. Bribe perverts what? The judgment, the gospel, the truth. That's what you all are about. So we know by nature, being under a Christian doctrine or being under a Christian religion, you all are false. There's nothing to add to that. It's proven. We did a lesson on it already. It's 100% fact. But what you're not going to do is take away from the scriptures and say that the Father isn't a Negro man. The Yahawashi isn't a Negro man. Now we know black is a social construct, much as white. We did this already as well. So we're not going to go into the whole black and white thing. But what we are going to do is prove that the Israelites and their descendants were of a Negro origin. All right? Especially during the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which Yahawashi HaMashiach was from. Let's be honest. Let's be plain. All right?
The ethnic Jew, and he was born into a family of ethnic Jews, and he was raised around the Torah, and he learned the things of Jewish family, and he went into the synagogue as was his custom, and he fulfilled the law because he came to do that, and he came to his own first, the people of Israel, the Jewish race. So we know that Jesus was not a black man. I don't care what.
And he himself is making himself look bad. The Jewish race. What does Jewish means? That's a homework for him to do. If he does it, it doesn't matter.
What's false doctrine? I don't care about no Hebrew Israelite. We know that Jesus was not a black.
Notice who the topic is at hand. Hebrew Israelite, because he said that even before in the other video which I did. So he's making himself known to be against the Hebrew Israelites' doctrine, which for some weird reason they cannot gainsay nor resist, but they still have a problem with it because they cannot accept the truth for what it is. Let's go.
But some of us use our race as idolatry. I don't care. Black people do that. White people do that.
We're not using a race as idolatry. We are showing what the scripture has said. Revelation chapter 1 and verses 1 and 2 to 3 tells you that the revealing of Yahawashi HaMashiach, and Revelation chapter 13 to 15 gives you the outline of what he looks like. It's not hard to understand. It literally describes what he wears and what he looks like. Literally. So saying that we're using it as idolatry, now you are bearing false witness, sir. So you already have an offense that you need to come against. Prove your cause. Is this not bearing false witness, sir? Because we never tell anybody to put this up in your house and worship that idol. We're just giving an example as to what the Messiah would look like. So you would now know and not train yourself to worship idols like Christian has taught you. But it is what it is.
We exalt our race as a form of idolatry. Jesus was not a black man. He was an ethnic Jew and had skin like brass and hair like wool. Jesus was a brown-skinned Middle Eastern Jewish man, and he was born in Bethlehem. He was raised in Nazareth under Roman oppression. And this conversation is not about race.
In the end, look at what you see. So let's go to the understanding foundation, because people have a misunderstanding as to what the Israelites would look like back then and what they will look like today. Now we see the bulks of the... I'm going to pause. It's simple. Simple lookup.
Of Hebrew type people in Egypt.
There's one particular document which is quite amazing. It's called the Brooklyn Papyrus. And this actually is a list of domestic servants from one...
By the way, this is your scholars, Mr. Philip, this is your scholars, not mine. Your scholars. What you believe in. Where your foundation comes from. Let's continue.
State. We have maybe up to 100 people listed as slaves in Egypt. When we look at those names, 70% of them are Semitic names.
Oh, wait,
And
pause. 70% of them are Semitic. Semitic goes back to the word Shemitic. Shemitic. Who was Shem? Who were the Shemites? The descendants of Noah, right? After the flood. Understand that? What the Shem lineage goes directly to? Israelites. Who was Shem? A Negro. Ham, the progenitor of the dark race, but the Negro. Let's continue.
You can literally pick off Israelite names in there.
Listen.
Menachem, Issachar, and Asher, the names of two of the tribes of Israel. Shifra, one of the Hebrew midwives in the Exodus story, a name that appears in this document.
Proof being understood here and clear. And guess what? This is not our scholars. This is yours. This is your scholar, Philip, where your foundation comes from, Philip. All right?
These are Hebrew Israelite slaves, and they're in a papyrus from the 13th dynasty, not from the 19th dynasty, not from the time of Ramesses II,
I'm gonna pause. I need to make sure that this thing is...
but from the 13th dynasty, the Middle Kingdom. What is it?
Now look at what you're seeing here. Can we zoom in to get that, please? I wish we could have. If we could zoom in now. But look at what you're seeing here. These are the descendants of the Israelites, which were slaves in the time of Egypt. Are you not seeing slaves working and Egyptians telling them to do their work? Are you not seeing dark skin slaves with dark skin Egyptians? One progenitor of the dark race, the other Negro.
What does this mean to you? What does it say?
What does Negro goes into? Black.
This is real evidence for the time when the Israelites were in Egypt as slaves. It's when you get a text, suddenly you've got history. Archaeology, you have to interpret. When you have a text, this is something very different.
David, can you put a specific date on?
Dated to one reign. The name of the king appears on it, and the king is called Sobekotep III. Now, he's the first king of a mini dynasty in the 13th dynasty, where you have maybe 4 or 5 very powerful rulers coming to the fore, a family of strong pharaohs. And this could be the pharaoh who did not know Joseph, the one who enslaved the Israelites, because he comes maybe 3 or 4...
into history. Your history, which your foundation is based upon. So if your scholars is telling you that the descendants of Israel, or you say ethnic Jews, were dark skinned, how could you say that Yahawashi HaMashiach was not that dark skinned? Or in that context, that complexion?
4 generations after the Middle Kingdom, when Joseph arrives in Egypt, we suddenly find this strong pharaoh, Sobekotep III, and we have this list of slaves with Israelite names.
Oh, okay. So, I could pause there because clearly this the rest, like, let me be real. I could pause there. This already sums up that you are wrong, sir. But we know you're going to fight it till the end, regardless of knowing that you're wrong. So let me get out of the mouth of 2 and 3 witnesses. We do it piece by piece. Let me get one first. All right? I'm going to pause.
Everybody out there, this is your brother Dana. You know, I get it from the white church all the time concerning the true color of Jesus that it really doesn't matter. It's simply a minor detail. So, brother Dana, stop majoring on it. Well, let me propose this to you. White evangelicals, this is your son whom you are looking for. And since color is a minor detail, you'll have no problem with me putting this image on your posters. But let me go a little bit deeper. You're waiting for your Messiah to return, so this is the man that you're looking for. But since
even Esau, well, she might be a Jake, let's be real, but even Esau knows. Even Esau knows that the real true Jews and Israelites, by their skin color, basically were not of a white complexion, which is a social construct. They were not red people, to be exact, which is known as Esau Edom, which we did a lesson on, the difference between the colors of brown, derivative of brown, and derivative of red. We understand the color scheme because there's a difference in the both of them. We did a lesson on that. See, nobody could say that they don't know at this point in time. So clearly, even he knows.
Color is a minor detail when he shows up.
Look at that. Brass with woolly hair. That's what you said, right? Okay.
You'll know exactly who he is, right?
Let's keep going.
And then Christianity and the Bible says that you should cleave to Israel, the true chosen people. You should protect them and guide them, and if you do, God will bless that nation. So here you are, protecting, cleaving to these individuals. But the truth of the fact, if you don't disregard that minor detail about color, you'll recognize that these individuals, according to Deuteronomy chapter 28, the Lord will send you back in ships to Egypt again. And the Bible says, Revelations 2:9, I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So when you say to me, white evangelical church, that color doesn't matter, it's just a minor detail. Stop majoring on the minors, Brother Dana, and preach that Jesus came to save lives. That's all that's important. Not when you're looking for this Jesus and you're following, cleaving these people. Because the reality is, white supremacy doesn't allow you to teach the truth.
And this is what Mr. Philip is under. Like, again, Esau Edom has by him. Once you're under 501c3, you can't even deny that you're not bought. Let's be real. So if he could deny that, no problem, but show proof. Because I'm going to look at this church right after this. I'm going to do a lesson in 2 to ensure that you know, and he's under 501c3. Once he is, your doctrine will be false, sir. But nice try. Let's keep going. Nice try. So the evidence is there. So let's now look at the understanding given in Revelation chapter 1. Let's read. Before let me get another example of Israelites being, or Jews being dark skinned. Acts chapter 1 and verse 13, as it says, now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manian, right, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul. Now let's go into what it says. I made sure and screenshot it because you know this doesn't want to display this information. Now my question was, let me see if I can find it. Bear with me. My question was initially, as it's seen up here, Niger in Acts 13 and 1 is referring to. Look at what it tells you. Let's go back into it. It says, What does nigger means here? Nigger is a Latin word meaning black, and in this context, it likely refers to Simeon's physical appearance. He is probably a black man or had a dark complexion. A what? I thought you said that ethnic Jews and the ethnic Jews had their ethnic color, and Yahawashi was of that ethnic color, because we're watching here that their ethnic color, as far as we could see, are dark skin, not red. So unless you're referring to that, which you made clear that it's them who keeping their customs in their lands, so we know who you are alluding to. We know who you're alluding to. Now you know you can admit you're wrong, right? Let's go into the next one. It may also point to his African descendants. This is supported by the fact that Lucius of Cyrene is in North Africa. Now, any place, anywhere, I'll be honest with you, it would take a fool to see. It will take a fool to understand that North Africa is a very hot place. To not understand that North Africa is a very hot place. And an Edomite, it would be hard for them to be in a land that is that hot. Because even today, there has been breakouts on their skin. Edomites being unalive because of what? Skin cancers and skin conditions due to not being able to take the sun. We know that. That's a natural understanding of the biology with Esau, Edom. We know that. Our sunscreen, sunblocks, coconut, all these things are used as measures to prevent these. Even pig fat, which they nasty, that they use. So we're seeing here a major trend so far that the so-called Jews would be more of the darker hue than a light shade or red. So far, so good. Right? Right. Let me pause again, because I want to make sure and address that fact in Acts chapter 13 verses 1. We usually use the Blue Letter Bible, so I'm going to go into the Blue Letter Bible. Now, before we go into the NLT, among the prophets and teachers of the churches at Antioch of Syria were Barnabas and Simeon, called the black man. Now, let's go into that definition. Back into the King James Version, which we read before. Let's go into the word nigger. Nigger.
Strong's G 3526. Niger.
Means black. What do they call us today? Black. There's nothing new under the sun, especially with our people. We're supposed to know this by now. So you, pastor, false prophet, Philip, don't know what you're talking about, number one, hadn't done your research, number two, or just straight outright sold out to Esau Edom. Simple. And the fact of it is, it must seem like you're selling out than anything else. Because this makes it so much clear. Let's go into the book of Revelation chapter 1. Right? Now let's read verse 13. We can read from the top, literally. If you want to, but just to kill time. This is bypass time. As it says, let's read from the top, matter of fact, let's read from 1 to 3. Right? Then you jump to verse 13. It says, the revelation of Yahawashi Mashiach, who power gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass, and he sent and signified by his angel unto his servant John. See, sent and signified, meaning what? It is 100% believable. It is stamped by the Father himself, who bear record of this word of power, and of the testimony of Yahawashi HaMashiach, and of all things that he saw. Listen to the part, verse 3. This by itself. So if you fail to get this understanding at this present point in time, after this precept is made, you know something is wrong with you. You know you have to go back and study. And if you choose not to, you know you're in darkness. Simple. Blessed is he that readeth and hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. If you fail to get this message, power is not dealing with you. Let's jump down to Revelation chapter 13, 1 verse 13 Salah. And it says, in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and a gird about the paps with a golden girdle. She had a garment with basically ornaments on it, but a garment, as it goes on to say. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. And clearly, for those who fail to understand this precept, he has this express image of his power, which you can grab in what? Daniel chapter 7, verses 9. See what it says. Exact same thing. Behold, till the throne were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. Who is the Ancient of Days? Who, for those not our people who know this truth, who are the Ancient of Days? Put it on the comment board for those who are now coming into this truth. All right, let's continue. You're supposed to know this. Come on, this is way too easy. This is beyond. This is before milk. Let's continue. Whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels like burning fire. So what was the hair of his head? Like what? Pure wool. So the hair of his head were like the pure wool. When they go into in the translation, I watched as the throne was put in place, and the Ancient One sat down to judge. No, I gave it away with that one, but that's small thing. His clothing was as white as snow, his hairs like purest wool. Which is, you see the comparison in it? Even when they go into Daniel chapter 10 and verse 6, let's go into that as well. We get an understanding here. His body, and this is the understanding of Yahawashi Hamashiach, who is the Lamb. It says what? And his body also was like the beryl, and his face like as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. What does it mean in color to polished brass? Let's go. Color to polished brass. Let's read it. And the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. Let's go into the word polished brass. What you're supposed to see when you see polished brass. Now, trying to see the polish. You see what they're doing here? They set it up. Let's keep going. Burnished brass. That way it's going into bronze. Look at that. Look at that. And what is a color of polished brass when burned or burnished? Pause. So polished brass here, brown, burned brass or burnished brass, dark. So he says polished brass, go into the definition, burnish. Right, so I went to the definition of the word wool or woolly, and it gives you what? An on or of obscure affinity or wool. Let's get another definition so you can get a better understanding of the word. So we have Wiki Dictionary, woolly or woolly head. You see what it says? A woolly-headed person, particularly potentially offensive, a black or Arabic with Afro-textured hair. Who has Afro-textured hair? The Negroes, the so-called African Americans. The Negroes have the Afro-textured hair. Come on. Seriously, let's pause. Another look up. Woolly head, comparative more woolly head, superlative most woolly head. Synonym, nappy, having tightly curled. I don't know why this. Let me see if I can. Let's keep going. As it goes on to say, woolly hair. Woolly hair usually implies a bending condition best described as normal hair with a tight curl, which is sometimes frizzy, resembling negroid hair. Who had negroid hair? Negroes do. Who were the Negroes? The Southern Kingdom, the descendants of Shem, which were going to the all of Israel, descendants of Shem. Shem was a Negro. As one ages and extends of the curls may reduce. That's Negro here. They can't bypass what is being said here. No? This is undeniable facts, whether they want to believe it or not. You could bypass and say, well, I didn't watch that. It doesn't deny that it was brought out and you saw it. Understand where I'm coming from? And you choose to buck up against it. That's on you. Let's continue. So let me continue. Now we have more. I took a picture. Make sure and snap it in case they want to take it off.